guys.
Welcome to another episode of Purposed Audacity. It's episode 3.
Yep.
I am Charmian Marie.
And I'm Brian.
Woohoo!
That's
Yay.
right.
And we happen to be married. Okay, wow.
That's
we already saw
awesome.
that in the promo, didn't
That's
we?
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're married. I'm glad I'm married to you.
I'm happy I'm married to you too, man.
She says that so softly.
Oh, I'm happy.
Alright, no.
Just in case. Hi guys. So with that said, it has been really great, like hearing your responses in relation to the episodes thus far.
Yep.
We're really grateful for like just the fact that you guys are liking it and your overall support for PAJE Magazine thus far. Since we launched,
Big up to you.
many of the things on November 1, and I mean there's still more to come, of course, because
right.
January 1 is actually the launch of the first publication, right?
That's right.
Saying that to say, before we get into the episode, if you want to be featured, if you want to become an advertiser or a sponsor or anything like that, like you literally can partner with us. So you can, after you watch the episode, you can actually click the link in the description to learn more about how you can partner with us, alright?
That's right.
So, with that said, we're going to be discussing an interesting topic today.
Okay.
Alright, let me bring this up. I actually need to, and my phone is deciding to freeze. But lucky thing is kind of lodged in my brain. So but I want to get it verbatim, right? So the topic is, and I want us to, so from your perspective, right? What are the leading causes of church burnout among Christians who are eager to serve God? So let's just, did you just really do that? Yeah, let me just repeat that while you just get comfortable. So from your perspective, what are the leading causes of church burnout among Christians eager to serve God? And I will tell you, like, people were really actually pretty incensed about this one. So that's going to be an interesting...
First and foremost, let me say to the people out there who don't think church burnout is a real thing, it's a real thing.
Like, I don't understand how that's even a thought. What's that?
Because there are, it may not be a majority, but there are people who believe that you should just go. The strength of the Lord is with you. You should just... And the truth
I've heard a statement like that for real. Like we as God's people should be ready at all times.
We should ready at all times. And church burnout is a real thing. Right. You want to call it church or ministry, whatever. Dealing with people is a burnout. Let's just say that. That can lead to a burnout.
Okay, yeah, that's
alright. Let me correct myself. It can lead to burnout. So, you deal with people and you're organizing things and you're part of leadership and you're doing this and that and that. Yes.
Well, even if you're not a part of leadership, but just always being on call and always literally having to pour out and all these things, like, really gets tiring.
It
But then interestingly though, it's hard to actually articulate that because there's this weird shame around it. Like, you shouldn't be, are you tired of doing God's work? Or, things like that. And I mean, it makes people feel like they need to keep themselves shut. Like, almost like, persons who are being abused in a relationship or whatever, like they need to keep their mouth shut or whatever.
That's
unless,
wrong.
It's wrong.
That's wrong.
We
should never be treated like that because you're just honestly tired. And we're not talking tired in the sense of like, I just feel tired. Or tired in the sense of, I'm saying that so you can leave me alone. We're talking like you're tired.
And that's why, funny enough, the question I asked was persons who are eager to serve God. Because our reality is that, there are some persons who are just a part of ministries, and then they just kind of, I'm tired. But there are others who are ready to go, ready to keep on going, but they have to give in to the fact that they're tired.
Well, let's start with one thing I can definitely say.
Right.
One thing is habit. It's just been a habit. You know, you're always a part. You're possibly always a part of ministry. You're always doing things. You're always going to church, and it's such a routine that it's hard to say.
Are you speaking from experience?
Oh yes,
Is
man.
this a confession?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know why the shade.
Oh,
I feel like it got a little
country.
darker over mine. But anyways, it's habit. And what a lot of times what happens, you know, you're doing this thing, and you know, like, as a matter of fact, the two big things can happen out of this. One, you get very tired. Like, tired in the sense of you get sick, you can't do it, your body is reacting to it. And two, you are so in the habit of doing things for God that you get out of the habit of actually being with God.
Yo, woo, that woo. Mm-mm.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You're so in the habit of knowing what to do, how to do, when
and
to
it's
do.
like routine.
It's routine. I can figure this out. That we are not in God, and so therefore, even if God wanted to do something different outside of the habit or the routine we've built, it's hard to even hear that, because I know I'm just going through the motion. I'm just getting this done. I'm just getting it done. Versus taking time to sit down, rest, and also rest with God and be in the presence of God. So habit, trust me,
is one of the things that leads to burnout.
It's one of the big things that leads to burnout.
And so, just think, whether or not me getting a quote unquote trouble for this.
Oh,
let us
wow.
just
50 million.
Oh, rubber. A reality is that, so there are a lot of churches that have a specific set of deficiencies. And just to give you a little background about me, I have been associated with 9 churches within my life, right? So for me, it's not like me I pick on one church or whatever. Like, I've seen it consistently in churches, so I know that there's a practice, right? Mm-hmm. So when you see, so say for instance, you have like 50 young people in a church, right? Mm-hmm. It's only like 7 of those young people who are really like trying to live the Christian life, you know, without doing the bag of things and whatever. And so you as church leaders therefore say, hey, well, since you are eager and whatever, I mean, and I get it. I feel like it's a natural thing. If you see people who are more eager and stuff like that and more quote-unquote capable and whatever, then you're going to call on them. But then, is there something that you're trying to put in place to nurture the others so that you don't have to basically squeeze out them few here and then and allow for rotation or whatever?
So pretty much the ego. So so another one is that the eager ones are always the more eager ones are called out.
Yeah, and milked, literally.
And milked. Okay,
right?
That is definitely.
And I mean, when I say milked, I'm not saying that. I'm not overtly saying that churches are trying to manipulate persons or trying to whatever. I'm not going to overtly use that word manipulate and stuff, but there comes a point where I believe that churches need to recognize that a lot of these persons who are growing need space to grow and need space to be able to balance out their lives. So it's fine, we want them to be active in the church and stuff like that, but we also need to remember that, them need to also be good stewards in the rest of them life too. You know, a lot of these persons are great in church, them a mime, them a do poetry, them a sing and all them things there, but them can't manage them finances. They're not good in relationships. Them not good in all them school books. Them not, you get what I'm saying?
The people alone.
I just say, and so a reality is that because they're consistently being milked and pressed upon and all of these things and whatever, is like by the time them look back in them life or whatever and see that the other things are not necessarily up to par and stuff, that actually leads to burnout because there's that imbalance, right? Mm-hmm. There's an imbalance and stuff, and so it's like their spirit is actually burnt out because they have to play catch up. It's like their mind and their emotions end up being burnt out because they start regretting, sadly, some of the steps that they made and the fact that they didn't get time to spend on those other things. And so not only does that lead to burnout, it also leads to a low-key resentment.
There is also one cause of the thought process of our how. Let me just say, better yet, how it is used. Oh, the Lord will reward you.
Hey, good.
That statement, I feel like a lot.
He will reward.
He will reward
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
He will. But at the same time, if you're doing this thing just to get it done and only have, oh, he will reward me, but you're not, as Charmian said, we're not taking care of everything. We're just making sure that this is sorted out. We're not living holistically.
Yeah.
We're living just to, get this thing done. And everything else is a burden. Everything else is that's what puts stress on you. And everything else is stress. And you're just all you're hearing the Lord versus realizing that somebody saying, hey, you actually need to slow down, look at the different things around you and see how you can spread yourself a little better. Maybe you need to say no sometimes.
Oh.
Maybe you need to.
I think he needs to repeat that point. Sorry, let us just. If you know, you know.
If you know.
Yeah, man.
You know.
So
maybe you need to say no sometimes.
Okay.
Maybe you need to know that yes, the Lord is gonna reward you, even when you decide like, no, I'm not going to do this today. No, I'm not gonna step into this. And it's not to say that you must step out of your commitment or your responsibility.
Hey, right.
If you've committed to something and you've taken up a responsibility, you must do it. But it doesn't mean that you can't set up your time. Woo! That's another one.
Yeah.
But you can't set up your time
management.
and time management
Right.
is also another reason why people get a lot of burnout. So jump to that. Sharmi can talk about that. But yeah, in the sense of no, I don't show shade. I'm
Whoa.
I love people.
These tire tracks under this voice.
But it's so maybe you just need to organize yourself a little better. Maybe you just need to, delegate some of the stuff that you're doing. Get people to help you in doing it. Take some time off to say, hey, I really need to rest. I really need to seek the Lord. I really need to stop just moving so quickly and so fast, or just moving overall, and just really take a time to really look on how everything is going, how everything is running, and maybe evaluate what do you want next, Lord. Because a lot of times we will be doing this thing again from the first point I made about it. You'll be doing this thing and you're doing it without God. You're doing it without His guidance. You're doing it without His leading. That even when God says to do something, you're like, no, this don't line up with what's supposed to happen. Or you want me to do this? No, we already had a whole plan and everything. Yeah. Because that's what He wants. And that's not about what you want.
Sorry, I was just sitting there taking that in, like that's solid. I'm not lie. And piggybacking on that and going into the thought of time management, I believe that on the flip side, as much as we're saying that, we need more church support in terms of how we manage our human resources, not really in quotes, but you get it. A reality is that on the flip side, piggybacking on the matter of being able to say no and stuff, it's also about really learning how to schedule your thing. Like, a reality is that, especially for persons, especially young adults who are maybe just get married, just have baby, or trying to even move towards getting married or getting a house or building career, stuff like that. Like, we find that a lot of us reach that place of all of these things like clashing, right? Because a lot of the churches, you start hearing words being thrown like, oh, everybody's abandoning the church to go pursue career and pursue school and every extra lesson in a Jesus name and tired and all of these things, and it honestly, it ends up losing out to, commitment to church and commitment to ministry and all of these things, right? But our reality is that we need to be able to, or be in a place where we're willing to strike more of a balance, right? And striking more of a balance means proper time management. So what I realized, like from a long time ago, when I was having all of these things battling each other, I introduced a calendar and a scheduler into my life, and especially with, being a coach and stuff, Like, I have been able to really just look on my days and say, all right, cool, how many calls do I have today? 2 calls, 3 calls, or just no calls, you get me? And so in the midst of that too, make sure that in your schedule you have down days as well. You know, you're not always on the go and stuff, you know, because at the end of the day, and I mean, you've heard me say this to you, every part where beat, you know, or every drum will beat, you know, yeah, you know, whatever. Thanks. You get it. We get it. But a reality is that you don't have to be jumping to everything and whatever, whether it has to do with church, whether it has to do with going out and whatever, whether it has to do with what, you don't have to, you know. True. And so a good way in terms of striking that balance is really deciding on your priorities, and making those things come first in that same calendar that you're establishing for yourself, so that by the time you really look on all the different moving elements in your life, you're not moving towards burnout for church, or you're not moving towards burnout even in relation to serving God overall, because remember, serving God goes beyond the 4 walls of your church building, because we are the church. Right? So overall, in terms of ministry, I know that there are a lot of persons in the kingdom, especially right now, them are plan event, them are you know, do Bible study, them are, and it's beautiful, happy that you're serving, but are you resting? Are you actually taking the time to dwell with God and be with Him, so that you can receive, so that you can also pour back out? Yeah.
That point right there, yep, receive so you can pour back out. Whew, that's a big point. And another cause for church burnout is the pressure of church people are trying to please people. Yeah. Let me not say church people. Let's just say the pressure of people are trying to please people.
Right.
Let me tell you, man. First of all, I love the church, but I do want to say to the church, when people transition into different spheres of life, from singleness to married, from married to now having children, stuff like that, give them time and space to go through things. Be there and support them. Because it can't be that clearly things change, and it's not everybody is able to quickly adapt to a new living and lifestyle and still be able to give the 100% that they were when they were single and living at their parents' house and don't have a chick or a child. Everybody is different. There are some that bounce back right away. Maybe they've been in ministry a long time and they know that ministry is a part of it. And even them, even persons like that, I would definitely say still
give the grace.
Give your time, take your time to just go through the things, because again, when you step into something like marriage, when you step into having children, it's gonna be a whole different process. So you can't expect, and church don't expect that they'll give the same 100% that they used to. By putting on, we should set up situations where we can say, all right, this person may be out for a little while. Say, hey, next person in line, like that's what succession planning does.
Ooh. Yeah.
We literally just said another point. I thought about that next. But yeah, the pressure of people and trying to please people can lead to church burnout.
Yeah, because you're trying to please here, there,
and everywhere, and you're not trying, and you're trying to please everybody else but God.
Yep.
Yeah?
Who gives you the grace to rest?
And you're trying to please everybody else without taking care of you. Taking care of your health, taking care of your mental space. Because, I'm going to speak from a leader's perspective. I will definitely tell you that what leaders go through is a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Like, good leaders, true leaders, we go through a lot.
Yeah.
When you're talking about leading, helping, discipling people, you go through a lot. And if we don't take the time and the space to really sit down and really talk to God, because sometimes we even have a lot in our hearts about the different situations that are happening. And if we don't take the time to sit down with God and really just pour out, like, Lord, this is in my heart, this is what I think about this person or this situation or that situation, it can overflow to the point of you're literally edgy with everybody. And when things don't start to happen or go your way, it's almost like, you know, you get upset, you start to get weary, because then, you know, every other call that you do get to say, okay, come do this, come do that, you just want to say no. You just want to say no. You just want to say, don't call my phone back again. And so